all right. Listen, we took a break at just the right time because everything that was being discussed here was sizzling. The question was, do the youth or do the politicians of tomorrow need political parties? Some say you cannot function without mentorship and the party structures and that support. And let's face it, politics is still extremely expensive. But some say you don't have to do that. Mulamba, you were saying something just before we went on break.
The reason why our politics is expensive is a bad culture, the bad culture of one handouts. Why do you have to get 500 shillings and 1,000 shillings from me so as to vote me in? That is untenable. Secondly, the patronage in these political parties, including how much money you have to cough up to join these parties and how much you have to cough up to win the party primaries, because we know in ODM you don't win the party primaries. You've seen how there's always violence in their party nominations. Are they a sacred cow? Are they the only parties that hold nominations? So there's one more thing that makes our politics expensive, and that is the, how do I call it, the misunderstanding that Kenyans have of the roles of their leaders. If I would ask you today, who is the best senator and who is the best performing senator, most Kenyans would not be quick to say produce some names, but if you asked who is the most performing MPs, they will shout quickly, Babu Owino, Salasia, what is the name of this other guy, Ndindi Nyoro, because these guys have performed with the CDF money. What if we eliminated the CDF? Because the senators do not have the CDF.
And by the way, MPs are not supposed to handle CDF.
Yes, and the women reps do not have the CDF, and the MCAs do not have a kitty. So does that mean that as a senator, I'm vying for a senatorial position? So as a senator, I would not be labeled as a performer because I'm doing functionally oversight, legislation, and representation. That does not warrant as performance. When I ask Kenyans, why do you think Omtata is not a performer? Because I've seen what he has performed as a senator and what he has performed when he was not a senator. So what makes you think that he is not at the same level with Akina Ndindi Nyoro? Then they bring in the card of CDF. That is why I was so opposed to CDF. We cannot zone in and reduce this to the management of funds. It is beyond and above the management of funds. We need to change that perception. We need to make Kenyans understand what are the roles of their leaders. Because when they conflate these roles, some of these leaders have to cough up money to get into development projects using their own financial resources. Mtu kama tuseme Sifuna, they cough up their own money kwenda place kama hapa Pumwani. Waende waeke gate hapo ama fence hapo. I'm just saying an hypothetical situation of what happens, because hiyo si kazi yake, and they do not have a fund and they do not have a kitty, but they have to do that because the public wants development. To them, development is the only measure for performance. And as I wind up, I think we've been sold this lie of political parties for far too long. There is nothing meaningful that is going to come out of ODM. There is nothing meaningful that is going to come of DCP. There is nothing meaningful that is going to come of that NAK Kenya party. Whether Martha Karua calls it People Liberation Party or whatever name, there is nothing. It is still a party of the old people, run by the old people, owned by the old people. They will make the vital decisions. They will steer their parties because they are the financiers and they own those parties. That is why you will never cross some levels. And there are ceilings in these parties that you never cross. Why is it that in the ODM party, for example, because it is one of the parties that has existed for a very long time, it doesn't have a young chairperson, it doesn't have a young deputy party leader, and whatever Raila Odinga says flies. Most of the parties out here in countries outside Kenya that have withstood the test of time and that stick to ideologies are parties whose party leaders are long gone. Most of them are dead. For democracy to work in Kenya, we either have to have a youth party or most of the party leaders need to die. And it is as simple as that. Because when they are alive, they will control, they will manipulate, and they will ensure that their will gets served. That is why ODM is in government, because Raila told them so. If that was to happen in the UK, most of the MPs will tell Raila to his face, this is not going to happen, because he would not be alive at that point and he wouldn't be the party leader.
All right. Angel, I want to bring you in quickly. I could tell you're itching to give a point. A quick point, a minute, please, and then we proceed.
There is a reason why Kenyans came out to fight for multi-party democracy in 1992, and there is exactly the intention they had behind it. And given our history post-independence, it was necessary that we opened up the country to other people leading political parties. So when we come here and we want to talk about parties the way we are speaking about them, then we also need to identify that the problem is not even party leaders or the structure of the party. The problem with political parties is in the Political Parties Act. In the Political Parties Act, you need 250,000 to register for a political party. You need presence in over 24 counties, physical offices present. You need clearance from the intelligence. And these are some things that are stipulated in the Political Parties Act. If we want to change the scope of political parties in Kenya, we must start there. That is where the problem is. And then again in 2027, we must decide which fight we want to fight. I know William Ruto is going to be a walkover in 2027, but let's not forget that he wields state machinery. He is abducting our leaders, he is arresting us, he is killing us. In Kenya, only 3 things can happen to a young person. Mambo ni matatu. You're either arrested, killed, or arrested, adopted, or killed, or all 3 at the same time. Let's not forget who the enemy is, because the enemy is very happy when we are losing focus. There's a lot that we need to do. Whether we want to be in political parties, independent, let's not forget the other guy is planning day and night to make himself a 2-term president.
If I am to interrupt, Victor.
People, I did not interrupt you, Kiongozi.
I'm just saying.
Just let her finish her point.
And I have
real
30 seconds to go. I think that we need to focus on exactly what we want to achieve in 2027. We might want to achieve 50 things, but we must establish which are the top 3 most important. As young people, we must know that we can also not spread ourselves very thin. We must decide who is the enemy and which enemy we are going to take down first. Political parties can always be restructured and reorganized. And I also want to emphasize that...
Just out of curiosity, what are the 3 enemies that you consider?
Oh, my number 1 enemy is William Ruto. He's abducting and killing and arresting members of my generation.
Number 2?
He has made my country economically unviable.
Okay.
You cannot be a lawyer and a software engineer and make ends out of it. You need a 2nd and a 3rd job.
Okay. Number 2?
Number 2 is still William Ruto.
All right.
And number 3, you refer to number 1 and 2.
All right.
Victor,
all right.
Victor, that's why I raised my
15
question.
15 seconds.
Yes. That's why I raised my question.
We're coming. We are.
That's why I raised my question. We are losing focus. The enemy is not William Ruto. The enemy is all of them. What is better with Gachagua? What is better with Raila Odinga?
All right. Okay.
This is a fallacy we are
Allow me to give these guys a chance. The member for Nyatike, please. Quickly, please. And the mic, hold it up, please.
Well, I've heard people say that we don't need political parties, and I want to borrow largely from Lenin Marxism and Mao Zedong, the leader of the People's Republic of China. And in the revolution of the proletariats against the bourgeoisie, they say there needs to be a vanguard party. There is a group of elites that will inform people.
Just hold it close to your mouth,
that
please.
will inform people, because it's one thing to have a revolution and overthrow a government, and another thing to run a government. So that's why we need these elites. And we have to try. Personally, my party leader has promised me that if I win the primaries, I'll be in the ballot. So let's all strive to exist in this political.
All right. Good point, member. Yes, please. Quick one.
No. You know,
please stand up.
There's something we are not getting here. We are saying that politics is expensive. And what about democracy? Like, why don't we see that democracy is the biggest enemy that the colonialists, I don't know, the Europeans left in Africa? Why can't you see that democracy, I don't know, multi-democracy in 1992, what has changed?
Dictatorship is
what
more
has
expensive.
changed?
All right, good point. Member for Kahawa, please.
Victor, before I become member for Kahawa, I'm the SG of the Youth League in Tibeba, Kenya Party.
Yes, you made that clear, please.
And one thing I'll need to confirm to this colleague Gen Zs of mine is that we need political parties not as eternal vehicles, but a vehicle for a certain period of time. What do I mean? When you get to parliament, shelve the party stuff and get to leading and doing what a leader does.
How realistic is that? And what does our history say about that?
Let me finish. Give me my time. Because you have to understand. You have to understand that once you get to a political party.
Let us give him the space, please. All the mics are hot. All the mics are hot, so they're picking up everything we're saying.
See, once you get to a political party, he's saying something that is very reckless of a young person. That nothing good will come out of any political party. But that is not the case. We have had great leaders come from these political parties. A party as old as ODM, I respect their position and what they've done for the country. My party, which is beginning to take shape in different parts of this country, is also in the process of, impacting things. So my point is,
yes, please,
we need these political parties as vehicles for a certain period of time.
All right.
Then secondly, secondly, it is very unfair to term William Ruto as the enemy. William Ruto is not the enemy. The enemy is some person who says that 2027 will look like a Christmas party. The enemy is somebody who does. Look, let me finish. 30 seconds.
I think
the enemy is somebody who tells teachers to move from where they have been working for 20 years to go to different regions of this country. The enemy is someone who has thrown bodies at Rivayala. The enemy is not William Samoei Ruto, the president of this country. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for your point. Yes, please.
Let me join Angel in saying it is true that there is no sane thinking Kenyan right now who will support William Ruto. The enemy is William Ruto because the intention is to make him a one-term president. It doesn't matter whether he's a party leader or whatever. He has turned this country, because I cannot imagine, I come from Embu. We lost, we had my good friend Billy Mwangi being abducted. And my area member of parliament, Honorable John Getonga Mokonji, led us in crying out for that young man. If we did not make the noise, right now we'll be talking of a different scenario. I don't imagine.
And I understand he's vying as well, Billy?
Yeah, he's vying for a senator seat, and we're wishing him all the best.
All right. Let's talk to member for Tarbo.
Thank you, Victor. Let us be honest, my fellow Gen Zs. The enemy, the first enemy is President William Samoei Ruto. I come from one ward with him. I know him more than you people. Let me come to my points. The first thing we are asking these leaders is accountability, integrity, and the last thing is good governance. We are not asking, even president cannot account the money used to build those bedsit houses in Mukuru Kwanjenga. Ask him to account. My governor, Kotimoja, the last day, he paid millions to ghost people who want tenders.
What I said, the enemy is not
so the thing we are asking is accountability and integrity and good governance. 2027, these all parliament, we are going to chase them out.
Yes.
These all member of parliament, we are going to chase them like Brukenges.
Yes.
All right.
We are not joking this time.
All right. Member for Bahati.
I want to first say a very powerful proverb. It says that you cannot teach an old dog new tricks. These guys are old. They have proven to us within the 60 years they have ruled us or oppressed us that they cannot provide, they cannot give us anything. So we must clean the system. I was watching a very good podcast today about Vusit Tembekwayo. He was saying that we can complain a lot about the leaders, we can remove this guy and put this guy, but it's the system. We need to clean the system. All these guys need to retire. We shouldn't joke with them. We need to emancipate not just our country, but our minds. We cannot allow old people with old ideas to lead us. We have not yet landed a man to the moon. In 2025, how?
I have a question for you, quick one. Omondi earlier said about the question of qualification.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, in 2002, a lot of leaders came in the NARC wave, the hopeful wave, the triumphant wave, and then we had a few problems not even a year later, scandal after scandal after scandal. How do you envision this new crop of leaders that you envision, away with the old, in with the new? How do you vet them before you get them in power?
Okay. If you look at most of the people who are running for MPs and these political seats are college graduates who have qualifications even more compared to these cronies who are in government. It's not once we have heard that, this MP or this senator didn't finish school, they're just illiterate guys. So we can clearly see that most of them are very qualified, yeah.
I think it's a good conversation. It's also a very challenging point. Wandera, Omondi, you have a mic? No, Wandera, then Omondi, then Rebecca back there.
Thank you very much. Also allow me to make it clear, the enemies are any person who has been in leadership position, including but they have not delivered fully. All of them are our enemies. Yes. What we need to restructure, let me tell you, Bwana Victor, the problem with youths, we are not moving in unison. Everybody, you can just comply to what people are saying here and here. Different people, they have different perceptions, but we have what is right. Right will always remain right, wrong will always remain wrong. So the right is all these leaders have not performed. Be it you have been a leader, you have been a former, what, you have not delivered. So we need new colors in the scheme of leadership. Thank you.
All right. Omondi, please.
Okay, thank you. Mine is just to say, with a proper civic education, I think we will not be discussing about party issues. If you can check the disadvantages of parties, most of the monies that are supposed to be used for development are mostly taken to the parties by those who won the party tickets.
All right. Now, guys, the people at home and the people in studio, this is clearly part one of this conversation, because this is too big to wrap up in just one discussion like this one today. So I want to do something, it may sound a little bit unfair, but I want to pick just 3 speakers at random. Give us 10 seconds of your parting shot, all right? 10 seconds of your parting shot. This is, like I said, this is part one. I hope all of you will come back next Tuesday for part 2 of this conversation, because clearly this is something that we need to do. On this side, I will have 2, Rebecca being the sole female representative, and Omondi, because you haven't spoken as much as the others. On this side. On this side, who's ready? We will have the 2 people in the middle who will give us their final thoughts. Please, keep it really, really short. Rebecca, go.
Yes, so I really believe that people who are selling the party politics are desperate, and that the Gen Zs need to come out of desperation and vote the leaders that they want. How will we vet them? How will we qualify them? We have always qualified our leaders based on our judgment. We will do the judgment, and we will elect the people who will bring change for our country.
All right. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you. Omondi, please.
I tend to believe that leadership is all about impact, not about titles. I think by now, Gen Zs have understood that the leaders whom they choose do not bring any impact, and they are ready to hand over, they are ready to take the mantle and by themselves and bring these impacts.
Thank you, thank you. Mulamba, 10 seconds, please.
We need to shift gears from activism and get into transformative politics. And if we can't do this as independent candidates, we are going to form a party. We have all the potential and the capacity as young people to form our own party.
All right. Wanjira?
Mentorship from who? You said that we need to be mentored as young people. But who are our mentors? We have to look at that. And your party leader is Rigathi Gachagua, who was telling people, if you don't vote for the finance bill, we will not build roads for you. And Kenya is a country of shareholders. Are those the kind of mentorship we want? The other thing is...
Fair enough. We're out of time completely. However,
allow me to...
However, I promise you, guys...
Victor, allow me to...
Hold on, guys. This is a conversation. Clearly, no. Guys, I'm so sorry. I am really sorry. I'm sorry, sir. Member from Embu, I am sorry. I'm sorry. We are out of time. We are absolutely out of time, folks. Here's the thing. You have to come back next week. You have to. But I promise you, if you come back next week, my director, my team, and I will carve even more time, because they added us some more time because the discussion was hot. I assure you, we will add more time to this discussion for part 2. Are you guys coming for part 2? You better be here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a conversation about leadership. In front of you, you see what is potentially the next crop of leadership in our country. Those of you who are watching us, there's been quite a lot of feedback. I'm afraid we may not have enough time to address all of those things, but part 2 will delve deeper into some of the subjects that they bring up, as well as new subjects. Remember, the country belongs to us. They say the youth are the leaders of tomorrow. Tomorrow is here today. And with that, I would like to finish this conversation, or rather put a pin on it, a pause, hapo tu, tumetega na jiwe, tutarudi wakati mwingine with more. My name is Victor Muyakane. It's been my humble honor to present this program to you. Good night and may God bless you. Thank you.